Today's episode of In the Trenches is brought to you by System 12 Guitar Method. Sign up today at ryanroxie.com.
In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie.
Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie. I am your host, Ryan Roxie. What is happening, everybody? Come on, file on in to the live chat. If you are listening to us on one of the later broadcasts, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify, thank you so much for doing that. But you know where we want you? We want you in the YouTube official channel, which is Ryan Roxie Official, and we want you to hit that like or subscribe button right now that Vic, our illustrious producer, is putting up there. Hit that like or subscribe button right now, even if you're watching it on delay, because it does help with the algorithm. And someday, folks, we're going to be right up there with Rogan and everybody else. All right. Don't quote me on it, but I want to be the rock and roll Rogan. How about that? So let's dive in. How's your week been? What's happened? 2 weeks been. It's been 2 weeks since we were last on. We had Robot Monster, great guest that we had on last time. Go check it out if you haven't listened to that podcast. But this one, folks, this one is a good one. I've been wanting to do this one for a long, long time. And let's dive in. How you? One word I used to describe an official In the Trenches guest is a survivor. Well, today's guest is more than just a survivor of rock and roll. He's a legitimate Hollywood movie script when it comes to surviving the twists and the turns that life has thrown him. And here's the good news. It has a happy ending. Nope, not that type of happy ending, folks. But here to talk about all the ups and downs from penthouse to pavement, and that's why it's a good thing he ended up being on Skid Row. Would you please welcome into the trenches the new lead singer of that band, Skid Row, ERIK GRÖNWALL. Hey, ERIK.
Hey, Ryan. Thanks for having me. How you doing, man?
Did I say it okay? GRÖNWALL?
GRÖNWALL.
GRÖNWALL.
It doesn't matter. How you doing, man?
It does matter, man, because how many years have I been called Ryan Roxie?
Oh, really? Ryan Roxie?
And I try to get the pronunciation of all the guests right, but I guess right out of the gate, because you are from the North Pole of Stockholm,
exactly,
Sweden. And,
yeah.
It's Knivsta.
Yeah. It's actually Knife Town. If you translate it to English, it's Knife Town. Kniv is knife and stad, city.
And your name is ERIK, which is traditionally where I come from, spelled with a C, but now, you know, more and more new age parents in the States are adding K's, but you guys have been doing that here in Sweden forever and ever. So do people ever go ERIK, or how do people pronounce that?
ERIK.
Yeah,
ERIK. And Grönwall is actually how you pronounce my last name, if you want to be really Swedish, but
that's where I started. ERIK GRÖNWALL. That's what I kind of said.
You sounded a bit German though, but it's almost there.
I'm a tiny bit German.
You are? Okay.
Yeah, I am. Like way back in the history, I guess. So we talked about that. New lead singer of Skid Row. I've been wanting to have you on for a while because it seems as though, and somebody talked to me yesterday and mentioned this to me, you have the Midas touch when you join a band. Everything seems to like turn to gold when you join bands, and you've been in a lot of other bands, which we're going to talk about. Mostly we're going to focus on Skid Row, of course, but for many of you that have not read about ERIK or seen a video just yet, or seen any interview, this is going to be sort of a good way to your introduction to ERIK GRÖNWALL. All right. And I was saying groin-wall because we said groin hit the ball. Your groin hit the ball.
Good. All good. Call me what you want.
The first thing we do, though, on the show is we go back to get forward, and that's where we began our show. How about that? So there you go. Born in Knife Town. What was it like growing up in Knife Town? Knivsta.
It's badass, right? It sounds more badass than it is. It's a very safe, small town.
Is that where you are based out of now? Are you around the Stockholm area now?
I still live here. I used to live in Stockholm. I lived in Stockholm for like 10 years, but then I moved back with my family. We like the countryside, so it's great. I live in the countryside, and it's great to have that balance when you're out touring and you get back and you got like 2 neighbors and no one is bothering you, and it's great.
You like that isolation. Yeah. I mean, you got to like the isolation. Growing up in Sweden, because I've been here for a while now, but do you ever get used to the darkness and the coldness? not the band.
Yeah,
and not
you know
the,
what? The more I travel, the more I realize how Swedish I am. And right now it's starting to get cold here, and I'm like, oh, this is so cozy. I love this. I love the fall, and I love when it gets cold and dark. And so
because everybody can have a fika. And that's not a dirty word. It's not a dirty word. Anybody out there listening, a fika is actually like a hot drink and some sort of sweet roll or something like that, right?
Exactly. See? We have a lot of fika here.
It's not only entertaining. It's not only entertaining in the trenches, folks. It's also educational. So growing up in Knista, and you find yourself there right now, this studio that you're in right now has a little bit of history because apparently you were recording some vocals on a very, very recent album, right? Is that the place where you recorded all the Skid Row vocals?
Well, I recorded 8 songs in the studio here in my studio at my house, and this is actually a very funny story. So when I was asked to join the band, and the guy sent me the new songs for the album, Rachel asked me if I could record my own vocals in my studio because we had a deadline, and I couldn't really travel because I was still recovering from my illness. And I told him, yeah, sure. Just send me the songs and I'll record it. What I didn't tell him was that I have never recorded myself before. So this was the first time that I tracked my own vocals. I did a lot of YouTubing, but it's like, I think Richard Branson once said that if there's something you want to do and you don't really know how to do it, just say yes and figure it out later. And that's what I did.
Screw it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, exactly. And when I first met Rachel, I told him that, just so you know, I have never recorded myself before. And he was like, I'm so fucking glad you didn't tell me that before we started, because he would have been stressed out. But this is where I recorded 8 of the songs for the Skid Row album. We did 2 in Vegas when we did our shows there with Scorpions. And yeah, we got some history back here. This is when I did We Will Rock You in high school. So that's actually me jumping when I was 18. So we did that as a musical, as a high school project. This is a Grammy
You look
Award.
like you're in witness protection agency right now because you got a black windscreen in front of you. Are you okay? You look like you're in Ghost right now. Yeah.
Sorry.
I just thought you were the lead singer of Ghost.
There we go.
There he is.
That's me and Ozzy Osbourne.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well,
So
let's talk about a couple of those
narcissistic
early things. Let's talk about you growing up, and because one of the cool things that I knew about you from an early age, and you can see right there.
Where did you find that picture? Wow.
This Vic, our producer, finds a lot of different photos everywhere on the internet. He trolls the internet. Go back to that photo, Vic. I just want to show everybody on the left-hand side of your screen right there. You see, yes, folks, that is an Idol logo, because our hero today, ERIK GRÖNWALL, is not only the lead singer of Skid Row, he's also a former contestant on Swedish Idol number 22938. Now, where was there stuff that was going on that led up to that? And what was the song that you used to audition for that?
Yeah. Okay. So that first year, that last picture was actually, so I auditioned twice, and that was the first year that I auditioned, and I got kicked out early but that was the second time, and that's when I won the competition.
Well, there you are, of course, because you're number 3673. Of course, that's
exactly.
a lucky number.
Yeah, exactly. It is. So that's and I auditioned with 18 Alive, the Skid Row song 18 Alive. So and that's why it's so.
That is epic.
I know. I mean, I still try to process everything, and it's just like it's so weird. It's like you said, it's like a movie script because it's so full circle. I auditioned with that song. It was pretty much the start of my career because
around 2009,
around 2009, and people have been requesting that song. I've been playing that song when I've been doing my solo shows, and 13 years later, I'm the singer of the band. So
that was one of the things that we have is a little thing called "Never Let the Truth Get in the Way of a Good Story," and we do a fact or fiction. And one of the questions was the audition song for Swedish Idol a Skid Row song? And you just answered, sir, yes, it was. 18 Alive. That is a fact. There you go.
That is a fact. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you are not watching any of these amazing graphics that our producer and production team is
I love it.
Up, You are only listening to us on audio. You've got to get on the YouTube official channel. That's Ryan Roxie Official right now, and be part of the live chat because we've got a great showing up there. Hello, everybody in the live chat. What are y'all doing? There will be comments coming up all show long, but right out of the gate, you were, won the Idol competition. And then I think just a couple days later, because I was living here at that time, I remember seeing you and Aftonbladet and all the news, not the local, the national newspapers. And you put an album out right away, and that is kind of a fairy tale type of thing. It shot straight to the top. No?
Yeah, well, I mean, coming from a television show, I guess here's the thing about television shows. So
let me tell you about television.
The thing is that what I noticed, it's a great platform to get a name for yourself, and it did a lot of good things for me in my career. But what you realize shortly after is that it's a television show, and once the cameras are off, that's when you have to start building your career. And the television show is not the music industry. So what I noticed was that I had a lot of people coming to the shows. A lot of people listened to the music, but they were listening to the music because I was famous from television, not because I was a great artist or because I hadn't put out any music at all at the time. It was just covers that I did during the show. So when a new Idol winner started, or a new Idol season started, that's when I realized that I was fading away more and more and more and more. So it's Idol and television shows are great, but you have to be able to you have to start building your career after the show
and capitalize on it and actually build the relationships, which it seems like you actually did a really great job of. One of the relationships that you met even before Idol, we were talking before the show and podcast is a mutual friend that we had, Johan Becker. Yeah. And you were saying that, I think you said you were managing a karaoke night or something like that. What the hell what were you doing? This was even before Idol, and Skid Row was even a part of your sort of ethos back then.
Yeah. So when I was trying to make it in the music industry, I started working as a karaoke host because I just wanted to do music. I wanted to sing. So I spent a lot of nights just singing different rock songs and practicing, rehearsing, entertaining people. And I did a lot of Skid Row, the Skid Row songs they had available in karaoke. And I was singing one night at a place in Stockholm, and our friend Johan Becker was there, and he came up to me. This was before Idol. He came up to me and it was like, that was so good. And we just stayed connected.
Hit up a rapport. Yeah. And he was a great singer by him on his own right as well.
Yeah, great songwriter.
He's had a ton of songs. He has his own band out, a Bucket of Phosphor, which you should definitely check out if you like the heavy shit. Definitely go check it out, listeners. Bucket of Phosphor, good Johan Becker plug. Plus, he sings in a classic Swedish band called Secret Service now, and I think he's at one of the Uzbekistan things on a flight there as we speak, because he plays all the stands where there's, like in Sweden, if you have a gig, you play all the shoppings. Shopping,
exactly.
North shopping.
Yeah, exactly. Linköping, Norrköping, Söderköping.
He plays all the Eastern Bloc stands, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, all these.
Exactly.
Places.
Yeah.
So anyhow, the two of us have this mutual friend, Johan. We meet years ago at this another friend's restaurant, Magdalena, and don't look for it; it's not there anymore, folks. But right in Karlaplan. I know I'm doing a lot of geography in central Östermalm, Stockholm, folks. So if you want to come here, now's the time to visit. Get out of here.
There it is. Really?
Yeah.
Is that the place?
No, it's not. It's good. No. Good job, though, Vic. It's a good try. We you know what? We could be all Hollywood and say, yes, it was. That's a great job. But no, we met, we got on, and then stuff just sort of took off for you. I mean, you had that album out in 2009, your self-titled debut. Then you put out another album called Somewhere Between a Rock and a Hard Place. And then you're moving along. You join a band that had a lot of traction already, But then with that ERIK GRÖNWALL sort of Midas touch, you turned it to gold and you joined a band called Heat. Now,
yeah, I did.
How did that come about? And were you friends with them before, or how did this whole gig come around?
No, I didn't know the guys from before. They watched me perform during the Idol shows when I did that every Friday, and they were parting ways with their singer. So they asked me if I wanted to become the singer, but I had my own solo career at the time, and I wasn't really sure. I had a great manager, and he actually nudged me in the right direction, because he basically told me that, just so you know, you got a couple of more albums with this label that you're on now, but you know, I think this is the better strategic move for you, because you will eventually not have a solo career left. That he said that in a very diplomatic and political correct way. And also one thing, that he was managing Europe at the time. So, and I know that Joey Tempest basically told him he should definitely join Heat. And I was like, okay, if Joey Tempest says it's okay, then I'm going to do it. So, and it was really
crazy, because it's like Joey Tempest is sort of the Bon Jovi, and he was like a little bit of a Skid Row in that sort of sense. And he gave you the blessing. Did Joey Tempest take all your publishing?
Maybe he did. No, but he actually wrote a song for the first album called "Take Me On," my solo album, and that's one of the songs that I still really like.
Love the guys in Europe. How do you feel about that? Because you've been in lots of Swedish bands now at this point, and now you're in an international band, Skid Row. The rapport amongst Swedish bands, not even different styles, it doesn't really matter. It seems to be like there's a certain rapport that and respect that bands have for each other here in Sweden. Am I wrong, or am I just being American?
No, I think you're right. I mean, there's so many. It feels like we have a certain kind of heritage here in Sweden. We're very proud of all the bands coming from here, and you know, it's like it's a very small country, and we try to stay. It's good. We have a good connection, and we're all friends and having a good time, and I think we're pretty proud of each other when we're achieving good things. You know, I joining Heat for me was actually I think that was the best thing I could have done at the time. It was a great platform for me to grow and to develop as a singer and as a frontman, and it's been such a great journey. I was there for 10 years as a singer. Wow. Yeah. So
now, that was the thing. It got you out of touring just Sweden, because then you went international. You went, did you tour the States with Heat as well? Or did you just do a couple
of shows? We did 2 or 3 shows in the States, but mostly Europe. Spain and Germany was really good. UK has always been great. Italy, Europe.
I remember seeing YouTube clips of just crowds going nuts over Heat, and over the course of that there's Address the Nation 2012, Tearing Down the Walls in 2014, and all these are albums that you can go check out now, Spotify or YouTube. But make sure and come back to the podcast, of course. Into the Great Unknown in 2017, and there is something that says Heat 2 2020. Do you have involvement in that as well?
Yeah. That was the last album I did before I decided to leave the band.
Okay. Because that sort of segues a couple of years before that, where I'm going in sort of a chronological order, folks. I try to have a little bit of sort of
I'm jumping ahead. Sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
No, I'm trying to go to be a little bit organized today. And I think because my last couple of shows been complete fucking chaos. I go all over the script, and I see Vic pulling out his hair in the backstage and stuff like that. But everybody backstage seems nice and calm. Thank you very much. We have some nice, calm people down backstage listening. But what happened a couple of years earlier that crosses my world is in 2018, you had a chance to work with my boss, and again, television comes around, and this is big TV. This is NBC's Jesus Christ Superstar, and you portrayed the probably least known apostle of them all. but you made the role shine. You were Simon, or as they'd say in Sweden, Simon.
Simon. Yeah, Simon. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that was so weird, because I got an email from the agency, and they were sending me emails like, audition now. We want ERIK GRÖNWALL to audition for Simon or something like that. Jesus Christ Superstar Live. I don't really remember what it said, but I thought it was spam because it was written in a weird way. But they're probably a really
like
big
someone
agency.
from like the Philippines.
Yeah, exactly.
Did they ask you for an account number?
Exactly. It's transfer. You got a chance to win $1 million. Just send me your account number, and that kind of thing. So and I sent it to my manager, and I was like, this is because it was probably a really big agency, and just I'm ignorant because I'm from Sweden, but it's really big in the States. So I just told them, I think this is spam. But then they sent the same email to my agent, to my manager, and they looked into it, and it was this opportunity. So I deleted the first email. So I almost threw that opportunity away.
To be on national television all across the states during the holiday season, folks. And
I know.
There's some good shots of the live performance of it. Did you ever watch it after it was done? Did you, or are you one of those guys that kind of like, oh, there you are with John Legend. That's a very cool shot as well.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, I did. I'm very happy with the performance and how it turned out. And it was such a good time. So I auditioned here in Knivsta. I sent them the video, and they liked it. So I was living a month in New York, just rehearsing and trying the Broadway stuff, and that was later actually nominated for a Grammy. So that was pretty cool. So I attended.
So you got to go to the Grammy Awards for that?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's
that's me and my wife. Yeah. So we were at the Grammy Awards in 2019, and that was pretty awesome. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but it was cool to see that whole show.
It's a thrill to be nominated, as they say, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know who else really, really respected and enjoyed your performance and thought you kicked ass? Mr. Alice Cooper, because he told it to me he would tell it to me when he'd come back from the rehearsals, and when he was done with doing the show, he goes, that kid from Sweden, he was great. He did a really great job, and he was really sincere about it. He was beating my ass in cards. I don't know if it was a ploy to sort of, take me off my card game, but no, he gave you a lot of good, nice words and nice compliments. So you got Alice Cooper in your corner, which means, so cool. As we sort of go into the future, maybe there's a, got to try and make the things happen, but a Skid Row Alice Cooper tour, maybe somewhere down the road. Yeah, I think, Rachel cool. and I, Rachel Bowen, amazing guy, great bass player, great songwriter, I would say founder of Skid Row, one of the founding members, him and Snake.
Yeah.
They just spoke to him. He's been on the podcast. Great interview. Go back and check that out, folks. If you want to go check out a really nice podcast, sort of rewind. That's Rachel Bowen on In the Trenches podcast. But there the three of you guys are, you, Rachel, and Snake, singing some background vocals. I'll bet you the words that came out of your mouth were "tear it down" after that photo was taken.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so that's actually when we were in Vegas recording the two songs we did in Vegas for this new album.
Well, cool. But there's something that happens before Skid Row, and I know I'm moving fast, but I still keeping it in chronological order because
you're the boss, man.
Dude, this is still before 2022, and I know people want to know more about ERIK, and we're going to get to all your social media platform links and all that stuff in just a little bit. But you are here right now with us in the trenches, ERIK GRÖNWALL, our esteemed guest, singer of Skid Row. But before Skid Row, just a year. Maybe even the same year, you're also starting a project with Jonah T, and you call it New Horizon.
Yeah.
And how did that come about? And and when did is there an album in the works, or did it come out? Or tell us about this project, New Horizon, as well.
Yeah. Okay. So that was after I left Heat, and Jonah T is one of my best friends, and he's the keyboard player of Heat, and he's also an amazing producer and songwriter, just incredible. And we really enjoy working together. So when I left Heat, we kind of felt like we need to do something together. So he had a project because he loves power metal, and it was kind of like his dream to release a power metal album. So he had a side project called New Horizon, and the idea was to have several singers on that album. And I was supposed to do 2 songs, but once we started recording, we were like, this is way too much fun. We're having too much fun. Why don't I do all the songs? Okay, sounds good. Let's do all. You can do all the songs. And then we just started recording. But unfortunately, and I think we're going to talk about that, but I'll let you handle the timeline here.
Well, you can bring it up now because it is such a big part of your career. Your illness, the sort of the hurdle before it, and I mean, let's just put it out there, because honestly, just a couple weeks ago, we had Kelly Lemieux, bassist of Buck Cherry, on the podcast as well, and he had cancer right before he was going on tour, got diagnosed with it, and went through the whole process as you did. And so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disrupt the story, but obviously cancer fucking disrupted your fucking career at this exact juncture. So what happened?
Yeah. So we recorded 2 songs with New Horizon, and then I was actually, so the reason I left Heat, a lot of people think I left Heat because I got sick, and that's not true. I left Heat because I wanted to try new things in life. I was ready for new challenges, and I have a startup in Cape Town. My sister lives in Cape Town, and we find talent in very disadvantaged communities, townships, and we give them the opportunity to become artists. So I was going to work with that, and we were actually on our way to, we were moving to Cape Town, me and my family. But I just got back to Sweden to wait for the visa process to finalize, and then I just started feeling really, really bad, and I couldn't even take a walk with my dog for 5 minutes without just being exhausted, and I was sleeping all the time. And my wife told me, well, just go get a blood test and see, just to be on the safe side. Yeah. And I did. I thought it was COVID. So I thought because this was when the South African COVID
strain was there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was on my way to have a COVID test when they called me, and they said, you have to go to the emergency right now. And of course I panicked, got so scared, called my wife, and I thought I think I started crying right away. I was like, what the fuck is up? Because you just panic. And I went to the emergency, and I was there for a week, and they did a bunch of tests on me. And then I got diagnosed with leukemia March last year.
Wow.
So, and everything changed. Everything. I thought I had it all figured out. I'm going to do this for a while now. I'm going to live in Cape Town. Life's going to be great. I'm going to take a break from being an artist, from singing. And then I got sick.
Life just said, wait a second, we got a different little plan for you right now. Or we got some sort of challenge and a hurdle. You're going to have to learn you're going to have to deal with it the way, only you can deal with it. So how did you deal with it? You went through it.
I know. It's so, that's a very good question, Ryan. but what I did was I realized early that I have to focus on the mental aspect. The doctors will handle the physical aspect. I need to take care of the mental aspect. I need to stay strong and stay as positive as I can through this whole process. And I got a lot of strength from people, because it was really scary to announce this. I'm a public person.
Right.
And for a while, I thought maybe I can do this without telling anyone. But I couldn't see myself hiding, just I'm going to lose my hair and I'm going to look different, and I'm not going to hide. So I decided to just be open about it and very transparent through this whole process. And I'm so happy that I did. That picture is just when I got my bone marrow transplantation. And I wrote that date on the wall because I told myself, I'm going to leave the hospital last of August, and I'm not going to come back. And I did.
Wow.
So I believe in visualization. I believe I did more of the things that I love doing. So it's so easy that we forget this part in life because, I don't really know why. We just take it for granted. But I realized that what makes me happy, okay, I love singing. So when I was at the hospital, not really sure if I was going to be alive in a year, I told myself that if I make it out of here alive, I will sing for the rest of my life. Because I realized that the moments that were most valuable to me was being on tour, of course, being with family, but also being on tour, being on stage, being with friends. And so I realized that I got so much perspective from that journey. And that's why I started the YouTube channel. I started singing during my treatments. If you look,
you started doing covers, right? You started doing a bunch of different songs and just singing for the joy of singing. I think I read somewhere also that you had an anonymous donor for your bone marrow, and you give them a lot of thanks, whoever he or she is,
because you don't know who it is, but how do you even express your gratitude to someone who saved your life? I mean, where do you start? Right. I don't know where to start, but I think that my answer is that I've given this a lot of thought, and I think it's just, I have to make sure that I wake up every day and do something that I love, that I when I wake up now, I instantly go, oh, fuck, another day? Really? Another day?
I'm above ground.
Here? Yeah. And like 2-3 years ago, I based my happiness on if I just go on that vacation, or if I just get that house, or if I just get that show, or if I just get that money, and now it's like just waking up makes me happy. And it's so much. I mean, I think I have pretty much the same value set as I had before I got sick, but I think they intensified a lot. So just waking up and being able to do what I want with my time is what I consider is the most important thing in my life. I have to.
There's no doubt, Erik, that you're on the right path. You were on the right path before your charity work with South African in Cape Town. We have a connection there. My wife is South African. We're really? Moving. Okay. Yeah. And in fact, maybe a year from now, or maybe someday, we'll be down there in South Africa, and you guys are more than welcome to visit. Maybe come and move down there. We can start a little band. You never know.
Oh yeah. That sounds great, man. Sounds great. Yeah. It's such a beautiful place. I love that place.
I didn't realize the timeline of your illness and had happened right so soon before you got this call with Skid Row, because it seems almost as if you made this decision to deal with it mentally, like you said, let the doctors take care of it physically. Thank God everybody did their part and the world sort of worked itself out right. Somehow you were giving this blessing of a call from Snake or Rachel, or how did Skid Row come into your life like that? Because you've been singing them your entire life.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a religious man, but I'm definitely more spiritual after this journey. How do you explain something like this? Because I used to say that everything is random in life. I don't believe that things happen for a reason. I think it's random. Just things happen. Yeah. But now I'm not so sure because it was kind of like someone nudged me in the right direction. No, Erik, you're supposed to be an artist. You're not going to move to Cape Town. We have to give you something so you stay in Sweden. Okay, giving me cancer, that was not very nice, but I stayed in Sweden.
Well played, life.
Yeah,
got me on that.
So I was stuck in Sweden, and I got the perspective that okay, I need to sing more, and I knew that I wanted to sing as soon as I got better, and I started singing during the treatments. On my YouTube channel, if you look at the videos, you can actually see that I get healthier and healthier.
With see the transformation.
Exactly. I wasn't really sure. Yeah, sorry.
Were they the guys in Skid Row? Did they see you from your YouTube channel?
I think they did, but we also opened for Skid Row with Heat in the UK in 2019, I think. So I know Rachel watched a show, and they used to hear me sing from backstage, and he told himself that he wanted a side project with me someday. But we never met. We actually, you know, we're the opening act, and you just want to do your thing and get out and not disturb the main act. So we never met, and but that was and I also think they watched the revisited version of 18 Alive I did on my YouTube channel.
Okay, and that's the thing. I mean, you're obviously filling the shoes of, you know, a lot of people. They have a little bit of a tunnel vision sort of thing where it's like, if it's not this version, I'm not going to listen to it. And, you know, they had the band had to go through other singers, Johnny Solinger, Tony Harnell, ZP from Dragon Force, you know, until they hit upon, I think, the perfect combination in you, because I think you're the one of all those singers, which I'm not talking bad at all about them. They all bring something to the table, but you're the one that makes a Skid Row, and should make a Skid Row fan take the blinders off and say, hey, I respect what this guy's, he's bringing the spirit of what Skid Row should have always been all those years, and bringing his spirit, but making his own twist on it too. And that's why I think you're not trying to do something completely different, but you're not trying to copy anybody that's been before you as well.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. I think it's very important to point out that Skid Row has had a lot of different singers, sure, but all the singers have played a part in keeping Skid Row alive. So I just feel very grateful for all the singers, I want to say, because they made it possible for me to step in now and, you know, represent the brand and the band. And I just think that's a privilege, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity. But it's like you said, when I first heard the new songs that the guy sent me when I joined the band, you know, it felt like the Skid Row I fell in love with. So I pretty much knew what I wanted to do with the songs when I first heard them. There were a couple of songs that were more challenging, but yeah, you know, when I started singing, I was really inspired by Skid Row and a lot of other bands and singers as well. But definitely been one of those bands that they've been with me for a long time during my career, and
they've been part of your evolution. I mean, they've been your soundtrack for growing up, and now you're actually in the band, which is a complete a mind fuck, but also such an amazing story. Honestly, Hollywood script writers, if you're watching this right now, so you can check out the ERIK Grönwall story. There will be a movie made someday about this. I'm pretty sure there will be. But you know what? To keep things alive, I'm going to go full screen right now and talk a little bit about the podcast and what we're doing as far as our commercial break. You've been checking out ERIK Grönwall from the band Skid Row. We will come back with much more of ERIK, but right now we are here to thank everybody that's been supporting the Roxie All Access Pass, because Alice Cooper is going out on tour next week. And guess what? The good people over at Brave Words have put up this amazing article just now hyping up the All Access Pass. If you want to check out the All Access Pass, I'm sure one of our good people in the chat, maybe you're part of the All Access group in the chat right now, but they'll put up the link and you can go check it out, because it's basically everything that I can do to give you the closest version of being on the road with me and the band, as from my perspective. You know, there's daily, nightly live streams, after show interviews, backstage stuff all the time. And I don't crowd the Instagram regular public channel with all this stuff. If you really want to hear all, you know, what it's like for me to wake up in a Marriott somewhere in Ohio, then you can check out and see what the shower looks like if you go onto our private All Access Instagram channel. And that's what you'll get with one of the many things you'll get. So just check it out, ryanroxie.com. On the right on the front page, there is a little tab that says All Access. Check it out, and we will be out on the road with Alice Cooper. Next week, I'm actually flying tomorrow, but guess what? I'm flying right now because we're going to go back with Mr. ERIK Grönwall. And that was your break. That was your bathroom break, Eric. I hope you enjoyed it. Did you take advantage of it?
No, I didn't. No, I have to go now.
Oh shit! Well, hey man, I heard you like beer, and
yeah, I do.
You said that before. You know how I heard you like beer? I heard about from one of your things that we like to call hot topics, and that's what we're going to start right now. Hot topics rock reaction right now. Again, our good friends at Brave Worlds wrote an article about many bands get creative lately, making behind the album videos, as a key promotion tool for new album releases. These videos partially get maybe even more attention than the music videos because they pull the fans in, kind of like the way I'm pulling you into the All Access world. Eric and the guys from Skid Row have made a series. What do you guys call it? A webisodes? Is that what the word was?
Exactly. Yeah, I wasn't really sure.
Webisodes.
Yeah.
I like it. Skid Row webisodes of their latest single, Tear It Down. Now, I think this is a great idea and another just entrepreneurial thing for a band to do to get the word out there and bring their fans closer an inside look. Whose idea was it? How did it come about? And how can people check out more about your webisodes?
I'm going to be very honest. I think it was probably 2 months after I joined the band. So everything happened so fast. I didn't really reflect on who came up with the idea or how it, where or when we did it. I was just following everyone. But it's when I look at those videos, it's so interesting because I feel like I'm sitting, even now when I'm talking about the band, it doesn't feel like I'm the singer of the band. It feels like I'm taking a fan perspective. So when I'm looking at the videos, I'm like, I feel like a pretty lost fan just looking at my heroes, listening to, I didn't know that. That's cool. I learned a lot of things during those webisodes.
The thing was, when I played with the original Alice Cooper band, the original lineup, I was on stage playing Glenn Buxton's parts, and I felt that same surrealness about it because it was basically the way I looked at it is that I just had the best seat in the house. And I got to see that original band play all those original Alice Cooper songs the way that only they could do it. Of course, Alice has had a lot of great bands, through the years, kind of like the way Skid Row's had a lot of great singers until me. There was like 20 touring guitar players before me. But at the same time, I feel that because of those guitarists and because of those lineups of those bands, it allowed me to be part of this legacy, and you're now part of the Skid Row legacy. So You're just sitting there soaking all the information in about Skid Row when you're doing this.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it was a great experience. I could actually pay money. Before I was in the band, I would actually pay money just to sit there and listen. But yeah,
like the ultimate radio contest winner,
yeah, exactly. But I think it's a really great. People seem to enjoy that. Really enjoy the webisodes, and like I said, when I watch it, I find it very interesting. But I have another perspective than the rest of the guys because I'm learning all these new things as well.
Well, I remember seeing just a couple months back, you did a residency, I believe, some sort of show with the Scorpions out in Vegas. And it was the first time I'd seen you with the band. It was on YouTube. And when you came in and just sang, and then you're leaning on the stage, you're sitting on the stage, you're touching people, you're high-fiving, you're singing right in their face. And there was a part of me that goes, shit, Skid Row is officially back. They're officially back. And honestly, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come, because we're always looking for those. Who's going to carry that torch? Who are the headline bands that can carry the torch? And I honestly think adding you to the band, Eric, gives that whole band a fresh new attitude. And honestly, I think the fans will will feel the same way. But thanks for doing that. And that's was my first impression, was seeing that Vegas show.
That's so cool, man. Thank you. And Vegas was the first show we ever did together. So that was 6 months after my transplantation. So I was trying to. There were so many things going on in my mind, and I was, first of all, when they asked me if I wanted to join the band, it was about filling in for a couple of shows, and I just said to Rachel, I need to ask my doctors because I'm not sure if I can do this. That was 4 or 5 months after the transplantation, and the doctors told me, well, you could probably start in March because it takes some time for the immune system to recover, and we have a pandemic out there, so it's not really good for me to get an infection. But Vegas was the first show after my illness. I met the guys the same week as we performed. We rehearsed 2 times. And,
get the hell out of here. You only rehearsed 2 times from the time I saw that video.
So I flew into Vegas on Tuesday. Met the guys for the first time on Tuesday. I think we rehearsed Thursday, Friday, had a day off Saturday, and played the first show Sunday. And I was just trying to figure out where I was mentally and physically. If you look at the first show, and I'm glad I'm pretty ignorant during these big productions and shows, because I become like an introvert. I just focus on one song at a time. So when I go on stage, Slave to the Grind is the only song that exists. And then the second song, okay, now I'm just going to focus on that song. So I was trying to figure out where I was physically and mentally. I hadn't been on stage for 2 years, and I was also recovering from cancer. So the first show, if you look at the first show on YouTube, I'm kind of like running out like I did 2 years ago or 3 years ago. The old Erik, when he was fit and ready to take on the world. But
you pulled a Rose at the Video Music Awards when he hadn't done it for a couple of years, and he went up on stage and he just got winded real quick.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was like, oh, this is not gonna work. So by the third or fourth song in the set list, I was like, I need to chill. I need to really take my time. So if you look at those videos, I'm kind of like walking around, trying to pace myself, trying to find my strength again, just trying to manage to sing for 4 to 5 minutes. Because when I started this year, I couldn't sing a whole song because I lost my voice because of all the medicine and the cortisone, and I couldn't sing a whole song. So when they called me, I was like, I have to make this happen. If the doctors say it's okay, there's no excuses. This is the plan. And I went to my vocal coach. She's also my therapist, helped me a lot. Sophia Lilia, she helped me a lot during the treatments. And she just, okay, there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to make this.
So you set up a plan. I
did. Yeah. The first plan was to perform with New Horizon in June. So that was, that was manageable. I thought that was a good plan because I had this was February, so I had March, April, May, and June to recover. But Skid Row only gave me 1 month, so I had to fast forward a bit or speed up a bit. I set a goal. I'm going to be able to perform for 45 minutes. The set list that we were performing in Vegas when we were opening for Scorpions. I rehearsed a lot here in this room. And I also had a lot of sessions with my vocal coach, and also tried to start. I was working out, trying to build my body again. I still have a few kilos to regain, but
you've always been a pretty fit guy and a pretty thin guy, because part of that you have a fascination with martial arts, Aikido, judo, and boxing. Yeah. Has that always been part of your regiment? And when did you get into that?
So I started boxing when I was 15, 16, and I've been boxing ever since. So that's been a big part of my life. Aikido, I think that's a beautiful martial arts. Sorry, I'm just going to make my picture a bit more focused. There we go. I think that's a beautiful martial arts. And it helped me a lot during the treatments as well, because I mean, you can practice physical self-defense, but you can also practice mental self-defense. And I think Aikido, especially Aikido, is amazing when it comes to
using someone else's strength against whether it's mental or physical.
Exactly. So in boxing, you try to knock someone out. I think boxing is more like fight fire with fire.
Right.
In Aikido, it's more, okay, there's a force coming against me here. How can I use this force with minimal effort against, use the force to my advantage, basically. So that's what I did when I got the diagnosis and I was processing the whole, the treatment, mental and physical treatment. I was like, okay, this is the force coming at me, and I have to disarm it somehow. I want to understand it. I want to understand it so I can use the force against itself.
Of course.
In a way.
Yeah.
It might sound weird.
You pulled some Aikido. You pulled some fucking Aikido Minecraft shit on cancer. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure.
In a way.
You know, you find the stuff that works for you, but it worked for me. And I also read a lot of, Stoicism is amazing. When we're talking about books and philosophy, I read a lot of books and I love Stoicism. So the Greek philosophy, and that helped me a lot.
And that's where they're being stoic. All right.
Yeah.
That's a Swedish trait, though. Stoicism, Swedish.
I know. Yeah, especially
every Viking ship has some sort of guy in the front, like some sort of statue or woman in the front, just sailing along. That is the really Swedish of you, Erik, right there.
Yeah. I know.
You opened up a lot of doors because you said, in the books, in the martial arts. I did want to talk about your book because that's just another sort of thing that you have dove into, put energy into, and you have a book here in Sweden called Vägen till Freedom, which means I know my Swedish is horrible, Erik, but you know what? You try it out there in the chat. What would you read? Vägen till Freedom. Freedom.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Vägen till Freedom. There he is. It's a little bit better.
Yeah,
it's loosely translated, Road to Freedom, and you co-wrote it with again. Not the Apostle Simon, but Simon Wikström. Simon, as we would say here in Sweden. And you and Simon wrote this Road to Freedom. And it's actually a cool, I love that. I read the foreword to it. It has a lot of philosophy, not just about financial freedom, but also planning for life freedom, living the life you want to, not years ahead, but living the life you want right now. And how did the book come about?
So we were out touring and doing lectures at high schools, talking about starting your own business, basically. And we started talking about that subject, and we noticed that a lot of students got inspired by it. So if you start your own business, you can wake up, you can do something you love and wake up every day and do what you want with your time. So we started talking about that. And started this philosophy, the freedom philosophy. And it's basically, there are so many people out there waking up on Mondays, hating Mondays because they don't like going to work. And they look forward to the weekend. And, we want to somehow inspire people to wake up every day. And so when think about time, if we talk about time here, I think the most important decision you will make in your life is how you spend your time, because time is more valuable than anything. It's a very scarce resource. So how you spend your time is one of the most important decisions of your life. And I always convert everything into time. So let's say I want to take a loan to buy a house. I'm not sure what the market is like in the States, but let's say $500,000. Most people don't realize that the actual cost for that house isn't $500,000. It's your time, 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, on a job that you may not even like. So if you convert everything to time, all the expenses. So it's also about controlling your expenses and living within your means. So just
Did you ever read the book 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Because it has some of those philosophies out there of how to some of those philosophies out there of how to save time, and that book really influenced me in the early 2000s, 2000, I think I read it around 2007, somewhere around there. And it really helped me plan out things of how to save time. So this has sort of the same approach. And I've always said, it's always cliches and stuff, but do what you love what you do, apply, work a job that doesn't feel like a job. And then, it is all those types of cliches are really, do anything like you do everything. Because if you do anything, constantly good, then everything becomes constantly good. I mean, all those sort of football cliches, prep rally talks, they do work though. And I'm telling you, your book, is there plans for it to be released in English or is it right now only in Swedish? And who can get it?
Yeah, just in Swedish now. We might translate it later. But yeah, it was just released a month ago. So we'll see if people like it here, and then we might translate it if we get a good response from people. But it's basically the tagline for the lecture was how to create a life you don't need a vacation from.
There you go.
And there's a quote that I really love, that most people buy things they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't even like.
That's perfect.
And it's so true. So it has a lot of, we're talking about freedom, how to create passive income, how to wake up every day doing something you love, and to there's a lot of philosophy, some financial advice, and that's the book.
Well, there you go. There's just another sort of venture, another little sort of avenue that you can go check out. Erik, if you want to check out his music, now you can check out his books as well. And maybe even go online and check out him doing some martial arts. But it's not just all about Erik. It's also about our supporters and fans that watch the podcast every single week and sort of promote the RGA, which is the Roxie Guitar Army. If this is your first time watching the show, make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button so it helps us with the algorithm right now, because every single week we try to point someone out that has done a exceptional, extraordinary job at promoting this broadcast or this week's show or just the Roxie world in general. And this week's fan of the week is Vic. Who is it? There you go. It's Tamara Chastain. And I'm sure you know Tamara. She's from Sweden. She's from, and I'm sure she's been, if you look at that picture, you've probably seen her at a show or two. That's Tamara. And she's been a big supporter of all things Roxie. And of course, now all things Erik and Skid Row. And she's been a big rock fan. And she is our fan of the week this week, as well as we have two people backstage that I have to take a shout out to. Camilla and Kitty. How are you guys doing? Give me a thumbs up in there. I can see you guys. They are all accessors that were invited backstage. That's
that's cool.
Yeah. So they're watching the show from the backstage. But everybody here that's in the pit, we call it, or the live chat, you're all welcome to promote this show. Long after we're done doing it live, we do it on the rebroadcast, of course. And because when the fans are the ones that actually keep things going, as you know, they keep our bands going, they keep our music going. And every once in a while, we let the people speak, Vic. So why don't we have the people speak? What? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. That's how you know we're live. That's how you know we're live. Well, let the people speak is, Erik, is when we put out a question. A lot of people responded with answers of questions they wanted to ask you. And there was, and I couldn't pick everybody, but I could pick a few, some great ones. A Raiders fan. There you go. Raiders, NFL stars. Are you into NFL, Erik? Are you into any of that stuff?
Not much. No, okay. No.
The guys in Skid Row will get you into it. I'm sure Rachel, he'll turn you into a Tennessee Titans fan. Don't buy it. Come to the dark side. Yeah. Come to the dark side. Las Vegas Raiders. You already did a good gig in Las Vegas. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So these are actual questions from actual viewers, and thank you very much for being a part of it as well. All the people that supported and asked questions. I'm sorry I couldn't post them all up. But our first question is from @murphys.perillo.13. With all the hit songs you have to play in Skid Row, what is one of the deeper cuts you most enjoy performing?
That's a very good question. Now we play. Let's see. I just need to remember the set list here.
And you're going through the set in your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Song by song.
We've been playing a lot from the first album, Slave to the Grind. I would say, well, I think Living on a Chain Gang. Can I say that song?
Yeah, that's a deep cut for me. I don't remember that being like, played on every single karaoke.
No, I don't think so either, but it's a really cool song and I love singing it. It's pretty challenging sometimes, but it's it's a great song. I would love to play something from Thick Skin. And we talked about adding some of the songs to the set list. I think See You Around is such a great song. Yeah, so that would be cool.
So you are into the deeper cuts. Yeah, because you lived it. Our next question.
Yeah. Sorry, Ryan. I'm just going to say that I discovered a lot of new songs as well when I joined the band because I'm listening to the whole catalog now. So I've rediscovered some and discovered some just listen to them for the first time. And it's really cool. It's a great catalog. So a lot of good songs to choose from. Yeah, sorry.
We're going to move on to @Dino_McCord. He asks, what is your advice for a young band trying to make it in music?
Hard work. Hard work. I would say try to master the art of producing. So you don't always need a big budget to produce or to record your music and to release it. I think there's a lot of freedom in being able to produce your own music and also write your own music. So because I work with bands that require a big budget in order to get the music out there, and it's sometimes it's hard to negotiate with the labels and yeah, I mean, it depends on where you are in your career, obviously, but if you're starting out, you should not expect a big budget from a label.
Well, it looks like you took your own advice because you recorded your own vocals in that very room for 8 of the tracks of the new Skid Row record, right?
It's never too late to learn. So yeah, and I know Heat, my former band Heat, Jonah and Dave started producing most of our albums a couple of years back, and there's just so much freedom in that. So hard work. Rehearse a lot, listen to a lot of different kinds of music, and master the art of producing and writing your own music.
Producing is the one that's always been my sort of nemesis, my Achilles heel. I'm a master of GarageBand, but to make that next step over to Pro Tools
I know. Yeah,
but then again, if you can. All the tools are there in GarageBand for me to make one hell of a demo. Then I give it to someone that really knows what they're doing with to get it. But maybe my sort of superpower is, at the end of the day, I know what sounds kind of good. I know exactly what once someone dials it up, I go, oh, that's the sound that I like. But how to get to that sound has always been sort of a nemesis of mine.
Yeah, same here. I just started recording my own acoustic guitars here, so I'm learning. But yeah, so I managed to release acoustic versions, but
working compression and the art of a compressor and all that kind of stuff. Shit. All right, you're gonna get me on the producer chain, and I'm gonna try I'll dive back in. I'm gonna graduate somewhere past GarageBand one of these days, folks. One of our last questions that we have, and again, I'm sorry I couldn't answer them all, but we are a little bit limited on time. But @Kitty Oates asks, and she's backstage, this is your question: if you weren't in the music industry, what would you be doing?
Yeah, I would probably be a police officer.
There you go.
that was one of the
arresting people on Skid Row, probably.
Yeah,
no,
exactly. Yeah. Now, I'm not really sure, but that was one of the dreams I had when I was a kid, to become a police officer or a pilot. But yeah, such a good question. You know, it's been all about music for me since I was in high school. I just decided that I was going to become an artist.
And ever since you were faced with the illness and forging through it, you kind of dedicated yourself to singing because that's what truly makes you happy. And you've been doing it every single day, nonstop since.
Yeah, I can't stop. I mean, I wake up and I feel, you know, I got back from tour a couple of weeks ago, and I just lay down and I was like, I'm just gonna relax. And it took me an hour, and I was like, I'm bored. I need to record. So I went in here and started recording covers. So yeah, I just really love it. So yeah.
You know, speaking of songs, and part of your advice was for people to listen to a lot of different types of music. It brings us, Vic, to our hot topic, and that's HAWT with umlauts over the A and topics over and umlauts over the O. Hot Topics Rock Reaction 2 is what is the album? And it came from us, the good people of Loudwire. Again, Loudwire wrote an article that said, what's the album that you consider a masterpiece, but perhaps it's underrated? Because you've listened to a lot of music now. Do you have an album out there that, you know, you might think, hey, man, this is one of those uncut, unpolished gems?
I would say one album I was listening to a lot in high school was a live album by John Fogerty, Premonition. And you don't see that one on that many lists. So it's a great album, great live album. And John Fogerty is probably, I think it's safe to say that he's a bit underrated as a rock singer. In a way, because you never see him on any of the top rock singers list or like the best rock singers of all time.
Yeah, but when you hear him sing, he's got the grit, he's got the tone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
if you're living in the United States, it's John Fogerty. But you know, we got this Fogerty. It's like, you know, Grönwall, growing wall, Grün.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Swedish and I'm stupid. Yeah. Okay. So
maybe it is Fogerty. I never had him on the podcast. If I can get him, I will. But okay,
I'm gonna Google it after the show.
We'll figure it out. There's a whole thing about pronunciation of names that I'm going through right now. In fact, I might as well just mention that because honestly, folks, next week when we have our In the Trenches episode, we have let me get this name right. Elisa Whitegloves. Yes, I think I nailed it. Elisa
That's
Whitegloves.
How I would pronounce it. Yeah.
From the band Arch Enemy. I actually went online to get the right pronunciation from one of her interviews. And Marilyn Crucifer, who is a former fan of the week, I texted her and I said, how does Elisa say your name? Because I said Alyssa at first. And goes, no, it's Elisa. So there you go. I got it double. One from Elisa and then two from Marilyn. So Elisa Whitegloves is going to be our guest next week and co-hosted by Kane Roberts. What do you think about that? It's going to be great. But that is just now part of our, you know, getting our pronunciations together straight. But now it's all about you, Eric, and how to get in contact with you. Because people that have been watching the podcast, the whole episode, thank you so much for doing so. Thank you for hanging in the trenches with us. This is your best way to get in touch with Eric. Why don't you tell them, for those of the listening at home or on the audio broadcast, the best sort of social media platforms to find you?
So Instagram, ERIK GRÖNWALL on Instagram. You got Facebook. I actually just started a Cameo account as well, and the YouTube channel. But there's a lot. I just want to say that there's so many fake accounts out there. So make sure that you go to these. Exactly, the ones you see here.
The one with the blue tick. Yeah,
exactly. And I think I'm most active on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And I release covers. I try to release a new cover at least once a month. And I also have a vlog where I do a lot of videos from tour and just weekly videos. Yeah, that's
of course it's Skid Row. You can check
Yeah.
out all of Skid Row's, and they've got a bunch of blue ticks over there at Official Skid Row on Instagram, Skid Row Facebook, and at Official Skid Row on the old Twitter, and of course just Skid Row on YouTube. So what is your favorite platform that you mostly communicate with people with?
I would say Instagram. But I really enjoy YouTube now because I activated memberships on YouTube, so you can become a member and get special perks, and it's such a great community. We're having a great time there, and that's where I release the vlogs, and I do live streams and we status.
It sounds a lot like the All Access thing that I'm doing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the same thing.
And it's just the same thing. It's just more like maybe content that not everybody would want to have, but now they get it in droves and they get overabundance of it at one point. So perhaps, do you have a group? I call our team, the RGA, the Roxie Guitar Army. Do you have a ERIK GRÖNWALL Army, or what do you call it? The Academy.
ERIK GRÖNWALL Power Crew.
Power Crew.
Because when my dad always used to tell me when I was playing hockey when I was a kid. I was a very tiny guy. So he used to tell me that you got Grönwall power. Remember that you have Grönwall power. And I was like, okay, what is this thing called Grönwall power?
You're showing the world that in Skid Row. I love it.
Well, yeah, maybe. It's been with me my whole life. I'm not sure if it's real, but placebo is scientifically proven. So maybe it works.
And I see that you had a bunch of merch on there as well. So is that all available at the website?
Yeah. You can find it on the website and also under each video on YouTube. If you want to look good.
So it's the Power Crew. Or the All
exactly.
Accessors.
Yeah, the Grönwall Power Crew. Yeah.
The Grönwall Power Crew or the Roxie Guitar Army. You can be a part of both, folks. It's completely fine. Or you can actually just support 69 Eyes, which I'm doing right now. Because I don't know if you know those guys from Finland, but, shout out to ERIK and the whole boys from 69 Eyes.
Our neighbors.
Yeah, of course. Have you been able to tour? You're actually in the band of your dreams. So I was going to say, have you ever been able to tour with any of the bands that you grew up listening to and are sort of the posters on your wall? Besides being in that band now, Skid Row, are there some other bands that you've been able to meet and tour with over the years that have been like, you had to pinch yourself?
Yeah, I think we opened for Scorpions with Heat in 2014, I think, in Europe. And now I did it with Skid Row again. And that's pretty insane. There's been a lot, I need to write things down because I so easily forget. But you've
been through a lot, Eric. You've been through a lot these last couple of years. And if you're just joining us now on the podcast, you got to go back and hear the history. There's a historical guy, and look at you. Yeah. Wait, are you doing a really good impression of Justin Bieber right there? Look at that.
Probably.
Or is it Machine Gun Kelly and Justin Bieber if they morphed in one of those things and they just became Grönwall Power?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's some kind of hybrid.
Ultimate pleasure having you on the podcast, Eric. And you know what? We've got to put plans in motion to get Skid Row and Alice Cooper out there on the
cool.
Together. You use your Grönwall Power. I'll use my Roxie Guitar Army. And oh wow, then you can even have Vic there. Vic Chalfant, producer,
take legendary producer.
Well,
yeah, that's awesome.
He is a photo producer. I don't know if you'd want Vic Chalfant to produce your record, but he will produce some hell great photos. I'll tell you that much right there.
I love it,
man.
Yeah.
Well, usually I say, we'll end the podcast with basically, you giving some words of advice or inspiration, but that's been the whole entire podcast, Eric. So I think I'm going to just, leave it down to that $1 million question that maybe everybody has been waiting to hear. Have you gotten any sort of response or sort of email or any sort of feedback at all from the original singer of Skid Row?
Nothing. Nothing.
Fucking radio silence, huh?
Yeah,
radio.
nothing.
Look at that. Come on, man. Give some
know.
credit where credit's due. I feel that you're carrying the torch, you're carrying the legacy, and honestly, dude, I'm wishing you the best of luck to go out there and continue to kick ass with Skid Row and all the other projects that you got going on.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. What a great way to spend a Friday night.
I love it, man.
Thanks, Ryan. I really appreciate it.
Well, enjoy your Swedish fredag night. Is it Friday night movie night? Is that what it's like for you and the family tonight?
Taco night, you know, tacos.
Oh, okay. It's taco night. All right. I love it.
It's not really a Swedish thing, but eating tacos on Friday is a Swedish thing.
It kind of is. It kind of and a movie. And you're going to watch a movie on SVT1 or SVT2, and it's going to be the same movie you've probably seen 38 times. No, but we all got streaming something. I got to go pack for the road. I'm going to be out there with Alice Cooper in the next couple of weeks. And again, don't forget next week, Elisa Whiteglutz from Arch Enemy will be our guest with co-host Mr. Kane Roberts, and you never know what can happen after that. But we've had Mr. ERIK GRÖNWALL from Skid Row on the show, on the podcast, and you guys have been here supporting it the whole time. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ERIK.
Thanks, guys.
I will leave you with
much.
3 words of my philosophy that sort of coincide with you. Until next week, everybody, I'm Ryan Roxie. Enjoy the ride. See you.
In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie.